Good morning, children. We are once again back on the same chapter, that is coordination compounds. If you remember, in the last chapter, we had discussed about central metal ion and the charge central metal ion and that of the ligands. There we discussed about coordination polyhedron. Now, what is called a coordination polyhedron? That is the spatial arrangement of ligands atoms which are directly attached to the central metal atom or ion defines a coordination polyhedron about the central atom. So, in this case, the most common coordination polyhedra are the octahedral square planar and they might also be tetrahedral. So, that is called the coordination polyhedron. That is called the coordination polyhedron. Okay. For example, you see we have this type of ion, copper, that is bounded with ammonia. How many ammonia you could see? We could see that it is bounded with 6 ammonia molecules. So how many ammonia molecules are there? It is being joined with 6 ammonia molecules. So there are 6 ammonia molecules that is surrounding the central copper atom, and the shape we see is octahedral, okay, and the particular shape here we see, its particular shape is octahedral. So as you could see, copper is bounded with how many ammonia? Copper is bounded with 6 of the ammonia, and it is actually octahedral in shape. It is octahedral in shape. What is the meaning of octahedral in shape? The meaning of octahedral means it is actually having a square planar with 2 of the groups, one above and one below that of the plane. So that was about the coordination polyhedron, which we had already discussed in our last class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the charge on the cation. Today's class, we are going to discuss about the charge on the cation. So in this case, we are going to discuss the charge on the complex ion. See, so the charge on the complex ion is equal to the algebraic sum of the charges on all the ligands coordinated to the central metal ion. Okay, so just remember, charge on the complex ion is the algebraic sum, or it is a complex ion which is bounded with ligands and which is equal to the algebraic sum of the charges of all the ligands coordinated to that of the central metal ion, that which is coordinated with to that of the central metal ion. Okay, that is called the charge. That is called actually the charge on the central metal ion. Okay, see here, it is the algebraic sum of the charges of all ligands that are coordinated to that of the central metal ion. Okay, that is the arithmetical, or I should say a geographical type of algebraic sum. After that, next topic we are going to discuss is denticity. What is denticity? Denticity, see, the next topic we are having is denticity. What is denticity? It is the number of ligating atoms or the linking atoms present in ligand is called the denticity. It is the number of ligating atoms. It is the number of ligating atoms present in ligand is called the denticity. So what is denticity? I am repeating it once again, children. The number of ligating atoms present in a ligand is called its denticity. So the number of ligating atoms present in ligand is called its denticity. Okay. Now under that we have unidentate ligand as well as bidentate ligand. So we have unidentate ligands as well as bidentate ligands. Now what is the meaning of unidentate one? See, unidentate means one that it is actually having a unidentate means what? It is actually having a single. It is having these ligands whose only one donor atom is bonded to the metal atom are called as unidentate ligands. That is, only one donor atom is being joined with that of the central metal atom. That is called a unidentate ligand. I am repeating it once again, children. These are those ligands which have only one donor atom that is bonded to the metal atom are called as unidentate ligands. Example, see, water and ammonia. What are ammonia are examples of unidentate ligands? Uni means one, dentate means denticity is one, or it is simply been joining the central metal atom at a single position. That is called as a unidentate ligand. Okay. After that, next one we have is bidentate ligand. Now, what is a bidentate ligand? See, bidentate ligands are those ligands, bidentate or didentate ligands. These are those ligands which contain two donor atoms. These are those ligands which contain two donor atoms. As they contain these two donor atoms, so that is called as a bidentate or didentate ligand. See here, in case of bidentate ligands or didentate ligands, what we see, that ligands which contain two donor atom or ions through which they can be bonded to the metal ion. So, in case of bidentate ligands, it can join with two of the donor side. So, it is called a didentate or that of a bidentate ligands. Okay. Example, see, ethylene diamine. Ethylene diamine is an example of a bidentate or a didentate ligand. See, ethylene diamine, it has actually two of the donor side, so it is called a didentate or that of a bidentate ligand. And that is, it has two of the nitrogen atoms. Oxalate ion has two of the oxygen atoms which can bind with the metal ion. So just remember, if a ligand is able to donate, if a ligand is able to bind, if a ligand is able to bind with two of the nitrogen atom, then it is called a bidentate, didentate ligand. If it is able to bind with two of the oxygen in case of oxalate ion, that is example of a bidentate or a didentate ligand. After that, next one we have is polydentate ligands. The next topic we are having is polydentate ligand. What is the meaning of poly? The meaning of poly is more than two. When several atoms are present in a single ligand, if several atoms are present in a single ligand, then that is called as polydentate ligands. Example, EDT4 is a hexadentate ligand. Why it is hexadentate ligand? Because it can ligate with 6 of its size. So it is called a hexadentate ligand and it comes under polydentate ligand. So if when several donor atoms are present in a single ligand, then the ligand is called a polydentate ligand. Example, EDT is example of a hexadentate ligand. So we are discussing denticity. Under that we have discussed about unidentate, didentate, and then we have discussed about polydentate ligands. See, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. See here, we have these examples of polydentate ligands where we have discussed about ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. See, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, that is an important example of a hexadentate ligand. That is an important example of a hexadentate ligands. Okay, is this part now clear? It can bind through nitrogen and 4 oxygen atoms in a central metal ion. Okay, it can bind through 4 oxygen atoms in a central metal ion. After the next topic we would be discussing is chelate. Now the question is, what is a chelate, or what do you mean by a chelating ring? See, a chelate is an inorganic metal complex in which there is a closed ring of atoms that are been attached to a ligand. Okay, that has a closed ring of atoms that is been attached to the central metal ion. So if the ligands are attached in such a way that it forms a ring like structure around the central metal atom, then these are called as chelate. And you should know that when it is forming a chelate, it should have 2 points or 2 atoms that are joined together. An example of a complex ion found between ethylene diamine and cupric ion. Suppose we have cupric ion that is bonded with ethylene diamine. In ethylene diamine there are 2 points of joining, so that is example of a chelate. So Chelate means when it forms a type of ring-like structure around the central metal atom or ion. That is actually example of that of a chelate. This is about a chelate, that is a inorganic metal complex in which there is closed ring of atoms, and by that attachment it forms a chelate-like structure. After that we have amphidentate ligands. What are amphidentate ligands? Amphidentate ligands are those ligands which can link through two different atoms present in it, are called as amphidentate ligands. That is, it may so happen that the ligand can ligate with the central metal ion in more than one possible way. I am repeating it once again. It may so happen that the ligand may coordinate or ligand may ligate with the central metal ion more than one possible way. Example of it is NO2 minus, where it has two options. Either it can ligate with the nitrogen and ligate with the oxygen with the same central metal. So it is a condition either or. Either it can ligate with nitrogen or it can ligate with oxygen. So that is example of a amphidentate ligand. As well as see, SCN is an example. In this case, what we actually see, it can either ligate with the sulfur or it can ligate either with the nitrogen. So these are all examples of amphidentate ligand. So ultimately we have discussed about denticity, unidentate, bidentate, polydentate. Then we discussed about chelate. In that I have told you, if the ligating capacity is such a way that it can form a type of chain-like structure, then that is an example of a chelate. Then we have amphidentate ligand. What is amphidentate ligand? If it can ligate in such a way that there are two options. Two options means it can either ligate with one atom or that of other. In case of SCN, in case of nitro, that is called as amphidentate ligands. After that we are going to discuss types of complexes. Here we are discussing about the complexes, going to discuss types of complexes. Under these types of complexes we have homoleptic complexes and heteroleptic complexes. What is a homoleptic complex? Just remember, complex in which the metal atom or ion is linked to only one kind of donor atom. So the complexes in which the metal atom or ion is linked to only one kind of donor atom is called as homoleptic complexes. It is called as homoleptic complex. What is a homoleptic complex? A homoleptic complex is a complex in which we see that the binding donor atoms are of the same type. Binding donor atoms or the ligands are of same type. See this example, examine cobalt-2 ion. In this what we see, how many ammonia are there? There are 6 ammonia ligated to the central metal ion. There are 6 ammonia ligated to the central metal ion, and what we see, all are ammonia. What we see, all are ammonia, all are of the same type. All are ammonia, all are of the same type. Here what we could see, all are ammonia, all are bounded to the same type. So it is example of a homoleptic complex. So it is example of a homoleptic complex, that is complexes in which the metal atom or ion is linked to only one kind of donor atom are called as homoleptic complexes. After that, the next one we have the heteroleptic complex. Now what is a heteroleptic complex? A heteroleptic complex is a complex in which we see the complexes in which we see the metal atom or ion is linked with more than one kind of donor atom. It is linked with more than one kind of. See, here we have cobalt that is bonded with 4 ammonia and 2 Cl2. So that is example of a heteroleptic complexes. that is example of a heteroelectric complex. So what is the heteroelectric complex? Heteroelectric complex is that when a complex is made up of different types of donor atom. And what is homoelectric? When it's made up of same type of donor atom. That is called homoelectric complexes. Okay. So is this part now clear, children? Types of complexes, homoelectric as well as heteroelectric complexes. Okay. See, after that we are going to discuss the next topic, that is Werner's coordination theory. The next topic we are going to discuss is Werner's coordination theory. According to this Werner's coordination theory, Werner was able to explain the nature of bonding in complexes. So under the Werner's coordination theory, you should know that this is one of the oldest theory that was proposed by Werner in order to explain the nature of type of bonding in case of coordination complexes. Now this theory is the oldest one and it has certain important postulates. What are the important postulates of this theory? The important postulates of this theory are as follows. And what are those? See, the first point is that metal shows two kinds of valencies. That is the primary valency as well as the secondary valency. See, metal shows two types of valencies, that is the primary valency as well as the secondary valency. So metal shows two types of valencies, that is the primary valency as well as the secondary valency. Now the ions or the groups bounded by the secondary linkage to the metal have characteristic spatial arrangement. So number of ligands which are attached to the central metal atom or ion, that actually determines the specific shape of that determines the specific shape of that of the ligand, because this type of spatial arrangement will make it clear about the shape. Now third point, you see that the most common geometrical shapes in coordination compounds are octahedral and square planar and tetrahedral. Octahedral, square planar or tetrahedral. So the important point of Werner's coordination theory is that in coordination compound, metal shows two types of valencies, that is the primary valency as well as the secondary valencies. Okay. Now next point, what we see, primary valencies are normally ionizable and satisfied by negative ions. On the other hand, see, the secondary valencies are non-ionizable and they are satisfied by neutral molecules. So the primary valencies are usually normally ionizable. That is outside the coordination sphere, the counter ions, they actually show the primary valencies. Now central metal atom that is attached to the ligands, they actually shows the secondary valencies, which is generally non-ionizable. So two important points are there. Primary valencies means the valencies which are present outside. Okay, primary valencies are the valencies which are present outside, and these are the valencies which are generally ionizable, and secondary valencies are those valencies which are not ionizable, right? These are the important postulates that was proposed by Werner. Another important thing Werner has proposed is that the secondary valencies which are non-ionizable are satisfied either by a neutral, positive or negative, and maximum is negative and neutral. Very few of them are positive in nature. Now, ions are groups bounded by secondary linkage have characteristic spatial arrangement. So the number of ligands which is attached to central metal atom or ion actually determines the shape. If the ions changes, what will happen? The shape also will change. If the ions changes, what will happen? The shape will also change. And what are general shape? It can be square planar, it can be tetrahedral, it can be coordination compounds also. So that was the basic postulates of Werner's coordination theory. Okay, children, that was all for the day. Thank you.